Welcome back to the channel today, guys. Now, I thought today would be a good day to sit and discuss with you guys about some of the manga and light novels that I've been reading recently. And I've actually been reading a lot. Probably more than I've been watching anime recently, to be honest. But today, I wanted to talk about The Eminence in Shadow, Vol.4, and bruh, a lot of things make sense now. More specifically, episode 1 of the anime makes complete sense now and is actually even more interesting. So I want to talk about that with you guys today. Now, Volume 4 is probably my favorite volume in the series so far because we really we have a lot of things happen in it that I think are going to have big repercussions for our series moving forward, especially the second half of the volume. Now, the volume's broken up into 2 parts, and I love that the series does this since Volume 2 moving forward, that we break each volume up into 2 separate stories. Now, this volume focuses on the Black Rose Civil War incident in the Oriana Kingdom and Cid going back to Japan. I really want to talk about that, but first, let's talk about the Oriana Kingdom situation and what went down. Now, the first part of our volume is actually quite simple. It boils down to this. The Oriana Kingdom is in the middle of a civil war right now. And if you didn't know this, there will be spoilers in this video, by the way. Just to give you guys a heads up right now, there will be spoilers. But anyway, the Oriana Kingdom is in the middle of a civil war right now, and it's divided straight down the middle into 2 factions. The perv faction and the anti-perv faction, if I remember right. Ridiculous, by the way. And everything is really blowing up in the kingdom's face. As we see that perv asshat, the best named anime character ever, I'll quote anyone on that. His plan is to bring Rose back to the kingdom, marry her, so he can take the throne from her and become the ruler of Oriana. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, how does Rose come back to the Oriana Kingdom? Isn't she part of Shadow Garden now? Yes, she is. But here's the thing. Perv actually uses her mother, the queen, as a hostage to lure her back to the kingdom. And it works like a charm. He completely entraps her and forces her hand to where she has no way she can really fight back against this, as her mother is hostage. Now, Cid, for his part, does not want this marriage to happen no matter what. Not for any noble reason, of course. Not because he likes Rose like that. No. It's because Rose, if she's the queen and she has control over the country itself, can do way more cooler things for Cid as the Eminence in Shadow. So he wants her to be queen just so he can do cooler shit as Shadow. So to that end, he actually sneaks into the palace with Epsilon as her assistant to kind of try to persuade Rose to take care of Perv and become queen herself. Now, as you guys know, if you watch the anime, or my reviews, by the way, which you should definitely check out if you haven't, they're great. You know that Epsilon is a world-famous pianist. So she's actually been invited to the Oriana Kingdom to perform. Now, Cid uses this opportunity, as I said, to go in undercover as her assistant to infiltrate the palace. And while he's here, he just gets bombarded by people who's like, oh my god, you're Epsilon's assistant. That must be so wild, right? You must be so good. So they actually get Cid to play the piano, and he awes everyone. Now, you guys might be asking yourself, Gary, why does any of that matter? Why is that relevant at all? Because it leads into a scene that I really, really like in this volume. Now, again, if you guys watched my reviews, you would know that during them, I would constantly say that, man, I kind of wish that someone would figure out who Cid is. You know, I feel like that could be an interesting dynamic going forward with just how goofy and over the top with this show is, if someone knew it could be really funny, well, that is kind of happening in a way in this volume, because you see, as Sid's playing the piano one day, Rose actually hears him and goes and sees him playing. And in this moment, in her mind, Sid and Shadow kind of overlap. She realizes, upon talking to him in this scene and seeing him play, how similar these two actually kind of are. And I love this scene. And let me explain to you guys why. Because throughout our whole show, there's not that many serious moments. Like, we have them sprinkled throughout, but they're mostly overshadowed by the comedy. But we do have our serious moments. And in this moment right here in particular is one of the rare moments that I've seen Sid actually, like, have a genuine conversation with someone. I was taken aback by it. Him and Rose have a genuine kind of heart-to-heart with each other in this moment, as she kind of thinks to herself that there's no way that Sid could be Shadow, right? But that thought is in her head moving forward, and I love that. But I was just so taken aback by the fact that we had such a legit, like, not super serious moment, but they had a genuine heart-to-heart with each other. Just trying to explain to each other how they're feeling and what they want moving forward. I actually really enjoyed it. And like I said, I love the fact that moving forward, Rose is going to have that little bit of doubt in her mind that, wait a minute, is Sid who I really think he is? Is Shadow who I really think he is? I really love that. And it's here after their conversation, Sid actually comes to realize that Perv is fucking her mom, dude. That is actually an inside plan. Rose's mom, the queen, is actually working with Perv. She's the one that poisoned the king the entire time and made him in that doll-like state that we see in the anime. She is the reason for that. She's been colluding with him the entire time. And Sid as Shadow breaks that news to Rose. And he kind of gives her a choice in this situation, telling her that this is your moment right here and now. This is your moment to take your own life by your hands or let others control you forever. And it's really satisfying, actually, because after knowing this, after just having her heart crushed, that her own mother would plot to overthrow her, doesn't care about Rose at all, overthrow her father, and would work with Perv. Knowing this, Rose gets the courage within herself to kill Perv, which, dude, when I read that, I was so happy. I was like, yes, let's go. But I was sad because Perv's gone, bro. Best named anime character ever. But she kills him and she takes the throne of the Oriana Kingdom in her own hands. But it's while this is happening, we actually see the true plan that the cult had in the Oriana Kingdom, as we actually meet one of the, like, official members of the Knights of Round in this volume, Mordred, who is the 9th seat, and how his plan the entire time was to find the Black Rose of the Oriana Kingdom, which is essentially kind of like a portal or a gateway to different realities, different universes, you could say. And how his goal was to use it to summon forth creatures from it and to kind of control the world through their power. It's honestly a genuinely kind of interesting plot point that will definitely become relevant even more throughout later volumes after what happens later, for sure. But I found that really interesting that we finally meet a Knight of the Round, and he seems intimidating. Until Sid shits on him, obviously. Like, come on now. Like, we know what show we're reading and watching. We know. As he shits on him. But here's the kicker. After defeating him and Ragnarok, which is a crazy interdimensional being from, I believe, the 4th reality, the 4th universe, they said, in it, who is almost like he's a tough fight for Sid, actually, as Shadow. After defeating him and blowing up the Black Rose, Sid, like a moron, jumps into the portal as Beta, tears in her eyes, follows him. And that leads us into our second half of the book, which is Sid going back to Japan. Now, this part of the book I loved. I really liked the Rose stuff, to be fair. I thought it was really good character development for Rose. But the second half is where it really got interesting to me. Because here's the thing. It's just Sid and Beta in Japan. And it's actually the Japan Sid was from. But here's the kicker, and what I was not expecting. The world, Earth, that Sid came from, the world, is destroyed. It's a post-apocalyptic world, dude. They were wiped out by these creatures. The same creatures that Mordred had come out of the Black Rose and attacked the Oriana Kingdom invaded Earth as well. Apparently 4 years previously to them going back. Like, probably almost pretty soon after Sid died. And that the Earth is completely wiped out. Like, cities gone, and civilization and people are divided into these little camps and resistance groups that are fighting back against these monsters. But here is the really interesting part about all of this. Magic is a thing on Earth now. It is a legit thing. Like, humans have it. They have knights. Like, Sid's original world, Earth, has knights now that can use magic through swords to fight against these creatures. And it's here we meet Akane. Now, to give you guys some context, remember in episode 1 of the anime, where Sid is the stylish hoodlum slayer and he saves this girl from being kidnapped? That is Akane. We see her again, and she is one of the strongest knights in Japan, fighting with the resistance base to basically just survive. Now, to have full disclosure to you guys, I already knew that she was going to come back in this volume. She's literally on the cover of the volume. So I'm not stupid. Like, I had a good idea. But I had no clue that we were going to take this angle of, yeah, the world's destroyed, dude. Like, it's gone. Like, everything's ruined and we're in an apocalyptic world now. It's kind of wild. And how we see that Akane actually, like, to that day, still thinks about Sid. He left that big of an impression on her to the point where in her everyday life, she always thinks about him. I'm going to tell you guys now, I definitely think she knew, or she knows at that point, who the stylish hoodlum slayer is. I 100% think she knows that that was Sid. Because the way she talks in this volume is very knowing. As we see that Sid and Beta infiltrate their camp, actually, under a guise. You know, they pretend they don't have memories, and they infiltrate this base just to see what's happening to the world. Because obviously they don't know, as we learn that it's a post-apocalyptic world now. And throughout all their conversation, she just can't shake the fact that Sid, who's going by Minoru, by the way, which was his actual name when he was on Earth, which obviously is suspicious to her, every time she talks to him, she can't help but think to herself that, you know, you really, truly remind me of him. As we see that she kind of has like an obsession in a way. Maybe not an obsession. Maybe that wasn't the right term, but she clearly admired him moving forward. And I just found that so funny after watching episode 1 of the anime. Because after reading this, I went back and watched that episode. And with the context I know now, it makes so much more sense. But I'm getting a little off track. Let me tell you guys about the main point of this arc. Because as Sid and Beta infiltrate this place, they are instantly interested in Beta because they believe she's someone called the Awakened. Now, the Awakened in this world is kind of basically like the Possessed in Sid's new world, where their features change on their body. It could be anything. Their hair could change colors. They could have grotesque mutations. Their eyes could change. As we see that he's interested in Beta because he believes that she is an awakened, as we see that Akane is actually an awakened too, as her eyes have changed to pure red. And the point of this arc is that her brother wants to kind of harness Beta's power to fight back against the horde of monsters that's coming to attack the base. Now, before I start getting into some more nitty-gritty stuff, I want to talk quickly. Just quickly, I want to mention one of the funniest scenes in this entire volume that had me dying laughing so bad. It was hilarious. The context of this is, since they're in Japan now, Sid desperately does not want Beta to learn Japanese, because if she learns Japanese, she's gonna figure out that his shadow knowledge, his shadow wisdom, is a bunch of bullshit, and it's all stuff from this world. So, naturally, when they infiltrate this place, he has her pretend to be mute. But Beta's smart, and she, through her ingenuity, actually ends up learning a bit of Japanese. Broken, I might add. It's hilarious hearing her talk in the book. Like, it's the most broken English Japanese ever. It's kind of wild. But the funniest scene is the fact that she learns how to use a computer. And Sid's also using a computer for whatever reason. I won't get into the specifics. But these two have a fucking argument in an online forum with each other. And things get heated. It's so freaking funny, guys. It's wild. Obviously, they don't know who he is. Sid is what? The fallen angel of rebellion. And she's what? Spicy elf babe? Bro, it is actually hilarious. I was dying laughing. Just seeing Beta get so heated, bro. Literally saying, yo, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. Yo, basically every Redditor out there, am I right? But it was so hilarious, guys. You ever just see a scene? You ever read a scene in like a book or a manga or whatever, comic book, whatever, and you can just picture the scene in your head just playing out. Like, you literally can just picture it animated in your head, and you can just play the whole scene. That was what I was doing through this scene, and it was so funny, guys. I really want them to animate this scene so bad. But again, I got a little off track there. I just wanted to emphasize that this shit was stupidly funny, and I really want to see it animated. But what really happens here is that while they're in this base, they hear about the story of a knight called the First Knight. The very first one in Japan, who was said to be one of the strongest ever. How they could handle any creature and how they were completely safe with this person around. However, this person went insane and actually killed an entire base of people. And it's revealed that the First Knight is actually Akane. And the reason this is because her brother actually had been doing experimentations on her without her knowing. Her memory is wiped to that kind of stuff. Like, she can't remember any of that. He's wiped her memory. And he's been doing experiments on her the entire time to make her kind of like the perfect knight. The strongest being of all that he can control. And how he's kind of ruined her life because she has so much trauma over this, of how she's killed so many people with her bare hands. So after discovering this plot and doing his damn thing as the Eminence in Shadow, after finding this out, Sid cleans everything up and actually confronts Akane as Shadow and defeats her, as we see that they're able to get her powers under control. And in this scene, I have to say, guys, I think she has, to me at least, it seemed like she kind of knew who this was. It kind of was implied that she recognized his voice as Sid's. At the very last second, before she goes unconscious and he takes her out and saves her, she recognizes his voice. So it's implied that she doesn't know that Shadow is Sid, but she knows that Sid is still alive somehow. And I found that really interesting. But here's the real kicker that I was not expecting but super happy about. After they thwart the plans and they find a way to get back to Japan the same way they left, and as they use the same way to get back as they got there, which is actually Mordred's head, by the way, which is kind of hilarious, we see that they actually bring Akane with them. She goes to the other world with them, as Beta literally brings her back saying, you know, I can't bring everything with me, so I might as well bring a local to figure out this world's technology. And I love that. I was really hoping that would happen. So now Akane is in this world with Sid, and I just really want to see how that plays out. I think that's going to be so interesting. I can't wait to read Volume 5. I haven't yet, by the way. And I know some pretty crazy things are supposed to happen in it. So don't spoil me in the comments. I'll actually be pissed. Don't do that, seriously. But I can't wait to see where we go from here, because this volume was just so fun, guys. I can't wait to see her dynamic, because to be honest, she's kind of just like Claire. Akane's just kind of like Claire in a way. Obviously not with the big attitude and the brother complex, but like they kind of look similar. So I really want to see how she's going to interact in this world with like characters like Alexia. That sounds great to me. So fun. And that is essentially Volume 4 of the Eminence in Shadow, guys. I had such a great time with this volume that I just really wanted to sit down and just talk about it with you guys, you know? If you guys been on the fence about it, I hope these videos I've done recently can kind of give you an idea of what to expect, so you know if you'll like it or not. Which you will. I guarantee you will. If you like the anime, you're going to like it. But man, guys, just what a great series. I have such a great time talking about it every time, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. So let me know your thoughts on the volume down below. I did not go into super specifics about everything, because this would have been like an hour-plus video. It's already pretty long, looking at the time, but I didn't want to go into super specifics, because I want you guys to go read this yourself and experience this. I just wanted to give you a little bit of info to get you interested. But let me know your thoughts on this down below. I genuinely want to hear, and I really hope this gets animated. Season 3. Let's get a Season 3 after Season 2, baby. I hope so. But next series we talk about, guys, when we do manga and light novels, is not going to be the Eminence in Shadow. We're going to do something different this time, because I've been reading other series. And one series in particular, I really want to talk about that I don't know if you guys will be as down for. You'll have to let me know in the comments, like seriously. I want to talk about Classroom of the Elite. I have caught up to the light novel, and I love it, guys. It's great. It's fan-freaking-tastic. You guys know I love this series, and I'd love to talk about that with you guys. Or ReZero, by the way. I've been catching back up to ReZero. I'm not caught up yet, but I will be eventually. So when I am, I would definitely be down to talk about that as well, with Season 3 right around the corner. But until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.